Respected Chief Secretary, members on the dais, esteemed invitees for the delegate function. I know it's an afternoon session. It's a difficult topic, very big topic, and to have your attention, I'd be grateful. I see that smart city is a place for an opportunity for a citizen as well as for an entrepreneur. The government and the local government have to play a very important role, both in urban development and the panchayats are state functions. What you see is a citizen who's more digitized. He has got a mobile phone, a very powerful instrument in his hand, and which has become a part of his human body. And he expects that all the things, all the data, everything comes to him. And this is a tremendous potential because connected with the mobile and this identity in terms of Aadhaar, he is ready to have access to all information. He is ready to go anywhere. He is ready to connect to people, places, institutions, everywhere. He is more aware. His abilities increase. His expectations increase. He wants a better quality of life. And he will demand a better service from the government, whether it is a state government or it is a local body. The entrepreneur, if you see the market forces, is also trying to integrate or connect both the producer and consumer anywhere. And as a marketing concept, the producer of goods and services is trying to connect to the consumer of goods and services. And gone are the days where you're looking for profit only. Now the days is to reduce the cost, to increase the efficiencies, and ease of doing business. I think these are the prime concerns for any entrepreneur. And he is in search of constantly in terms of skilled manpower and the markets. And he also views a smart city as an opportunity. So what I see and what I can foresee, I have worked in Delhi government. I was Additional Secretary of Urban Development. Then I came to Goa government. I handled the urban development and also the rural development panchayat, and now handle in the Andamans as urban development. What I see is this smart city is a place, whether you call it a city or a semi-city or any place, is a conversion of skills. The skills would translate into activity, and the enterprise would follow in, and everything else has to follow that. This involves that your costing and your pricing has to be efficient, and there are demand and supply concerns which also have to be gone into. In that sense, for a smart city, the government has got a responsibility to create a systems and standards for future functions and services, so that the place of opportunity which is identified does not die with time. So the options before the government are, whether it is a state government or the local government, is to remodel the existing city by identifying gaps and calculate the costs. The other way is to make new ones and calculate costs. So ultimately it comes to cost. And smart city is not a single time process. It's a continuous process. It's not that you do one thing at one point of time, as a one-time effort and forget about it. It involves continuous working on it. Now, what is the place and what is the model to follow for urbanization or whatever the smart city is? It has been said that you increase the urbanization rate, your opportunities increase. So the states are there which are having, say, 10 to 20% of urbanization. They would like to increase more. There are bigger cities who are having big mega institutions which need to be broken down, remodeled. And then there are satellite towns which will extend from the existing city as a new development. And there's a new development with new townships. It will involve a time lag. So all this has to be factored into, but it gives you a clean slate to start with. Because, as the previous speaker has spoken, if you build something, to remodel is a very high cost alternative. Now, we also got an exposure today morning with Honorable Chief Minister, where he mentioned about the Goa in detail. And when I was working here, I saw this is a unique place where you have 50% urbanization, 50% rural area. So it's not exclusively urban, it's not exclusively rural. 50-50%. So it is an urban-rural continuum. Why I say this? Because the urban area in Goa does not look like an urban area, what we say in bigger cities. And the rural area would not look like the traditional rural area. So something like a rural-urban continuum. There are various states which are into this modes, maybe small size states, which are 5,000 square kilometers, 10,000 square kilometers, like Goa, or even if you go down south, Kerala is also in that category only. They would like to say that we are comfortable living in our villages. Why should we go to the urban areas? And why should we model into this way? And we had a place like Punjab. Yesterday, Chief Secretary Punjab had said, why a smart city? I'm more comfortable with a smart village. So that's also a concept we can build upon. So whatever be the model or the place we want to build on, whether it's a smart city or a smart village, it has to be a team's work between the state government and the local government. And there are issues on that, because there is always a rub or a discontinuum between the state government and the local government, because they have elected representatives. There is a rub. There is something like that. So when we are saying, coming back to the comparative advantages of producing and consuming, if we have to produce and consume, we have to converge the skills and activities and the entrepreneurs also. So the skills have to be ultimately linked to a product. Where to do it and what type of product or services have to be made. There is a simple concept that you build from micro, go to macro. An example of this is one taluka, one product. This is what I had, this is my idea. This is known as OTOP, one taluka, one product. You identify one product where you can specialize in. That is your comparative advantage. You can break it from the taluka level, go to panchayat also. You make it one product, one panchayat, one product. And you can build it at a bigger aggregate. I'll explain it by this example. Yesterday, Punjab Chief Secretary said they are experts in agriculture in producing paddy and wheat. That is in their talukas, in the village. I happened to go there in Punjab and study. So there they said, our only culture is agriculture. Well, they are very confident and they are proud of their culture. And they should continue doing, because that is an advantageous position. So it becomes an advantage as a product for the entire state. And they are building into their digitization, etc., into that. So that is one concept. The other way to look at it, in one municipality, you identify one product, or within, if the municipality is a very large one, within the wards of the municipality, you identify one product. So you build the aggregates and then you have economies of scale. Why this would be advantageous is the opportunity cost of producing a OTOP product should be greater than the transport cost. So the product will find its market. Definitely it will be advantageous. Now the crucial link, the human link. The citizen who has a mobile, he starts from his home, goes to a place of work. The travel time to his place of work and back, I think should not be more than 2 hours roughly. Otherwise it's not good for him, it's not good for the state also. So what a smart city would feel, or what a place is that where all the citizens, the government and entrepreneurs come together, build infrastructure. Now, how to build infrastructure? There are huge amount of issues, and everything, if I go into it will take a lot of time. Just to briefly go into this, transport is one issue. You want to travel to your workplace, come back home very fast. It should be safe, secure. And if you can do your work at home, why travel at all? So here, digitization and technology comes in a big way. Another thing is that our Manrega scheme, which is happening in our rural areas, people are comfortable in the villages, they're getting employment. So if we are able to build and technology to their homes, yesterday Telangana made a good presentation that not only the water is being taken there, but the optical cable is also being taken there. Why not? Why not build more efficiencies on that? Power. These are already transmission, generation, distribution. I think everybody is aware that it has already taken and stabilized. Tariff and regulator has come into being. Privatization has happened. Water supply. When I was there in Delhi, power had been, it was taken out of the municipal function, converted into a board, later on board converted into companies. Similarly, water supply and sewage disposal undertaking, which was part of municipality, is taken out, and another organization created, went for a World Bank loan. Crucial part is, if you're wanting to manage water, identify the target of liter per capacity per day of your population. Then, based on the consumption, calculate water treatment plants, efficiency in use, reduce your T&D losses, and one more important thing is don't harden your surfaces of the urban areas, because groundwater charging will not happen. Sewage is also linked to water. How much you consume will also go into your disposal systems. Another issue, stormwater drains. If we don't plan our sewage systems well, the so-called stormwater drains will become sewers as time passes. This is a classic example of what happened in Delhi. MSW, you know, segregation is at source, speedy collection and disposals. All these areas are open to private entrepreneurship, which can happen. Other areas are there which can also develop in a very big way, which are the social side, health, healthy living, more sports, more exercise. As you are handling technology, you're more sitting the day. You need to exercise, you need to play. The previous session, a lot of things was there. You would have gaming. Security and surveillance issue, you know this Nirbhaya case, what had happened. Government took a hit. Not government's fault, but it happened. Then your housing, slums, unauthorized colonies. These are big issues. Lastly, disaster management. The structural engineering which happened in cities. When I was there in Delhi, some earthquakes happened. Courts had to intervene, and they said, you please set up your standards for the constructions. And there in unauthorized colonies particularly, it was not built on beams and columns, it was just brick on brick. So our structural engineers, our architects, they need more capacity building to build safer structures as time goes by. Of course, capacity building, we also have to take our elected representatives in the panchayat and in the municipal bodies also along. Otherwise, if we don't do that, it goes in different directions. Then, coming to the financing and calculation of costing. What is per capita cost for urbanization? That has to be calculated if you have to plan well. Government of India has worked out in its smart cities concept a per capita investment of nearly 43,386 for a 20-year period. I don't know how they have calculated, but it gives an indication that you have to plan for your cost per capita. Now, working backward, what is the cost of creation of a service? Then what is the cost of maintenance of a service? These factors have to be taken into consideration. Why I say this? Because ultimately, if you have to invite a private investment into it, because government will not be able to invest fully into this, so both the partners have to get into together. And there's a lot of transparency process needed in the thing, because if you have to do the financing, your model concession agreement have to be in place. You have to maintain, calculate not only your cost but also your revenues very well. Make it transparent. Somebody should not get a fast gain, but a reasonable gain. Then your cost-benefit analysis has to be done by a third party. That will build a confidence among the investors, particularly if you want to do the PPP mode. And also if you want to invite private investment in these sectors, which are also crucial. And lastly, how do you finance? We have the State Central Finance Commission, we have the State Finance Commissions. They are not in sync. So our State Finance Commissions have to be in sync with the Central Finance Commission so that they are at the correct time. And the funding comes, how now we are having the GST also in place. So the fiscal financing and the GST, this leveraging will happen. More funds will be available, more faster funds. And it is time for an occasion that the state government will take an opportunity to share more of their funding with the local bodies and make them more capacity oriented so as to rise to the occasion of making a smart city. Lastly, tax. If there is a negative externality, tax. If you have to subsidize, if there is a positive externality, subsidize, but calculate it properly. Then differential pricing of services. Water, power. If you are a low consumer, lesser tariff. Higher consumer, differential pricing. You have to reduce your cost ultimately. I think lastly, self-financing versus loan decision. That has a crucial decision by the states. You have to come to a conclusion whether you are able to finance it yourself or want to take a loan. And this is a very important decision because it has an effect on your future budgets. Thank you.